Each day you remind me you're still mine. The door's still open, they call me in. When I falter, I'll start again. When my pulse begins.
Stolen Heaven, Secret Hell. Episode 17. Every step is forward. The door's still open, they call me in. When I falter, I'll start again. There is something this verse does that most recovery narratives never do. It tells the truth about what comes after. Not the dramatic after, not the testimony after, the daily after. The life that continues past the turning point and the fighting free and the declaration of not being alone. The life that is simply life. And in that life, the doors are still open, and they are still calling. But here is what I want you to understand about those doors, because I think we have been reading this line wrong if we assume it is about addiction calling us back. The doors that are open now are not the doors of the addiction. They are the doors of community, of companionship, of the help and love and presence that walked with you through the fire and does not stop being available just because the crisis has passed. Think about what sin and addiction did to those doors. They closed them, one by one. The secrecy required to maintain the addiction closed the door to genuine relationship, because genuine relationship requires genuine presence, and the addiction consumed the presence and left only the performance. The shame closed the door to community, because community requires honesty, and shame makes honesty feel like exposure. The hiding closed the door to help, because help requires acknowledging need, and the addiction trained you to deny the need even as it consumed you. And now, those doors are open, not because the struggle is over, not because the person is fixed and finished and no longer needs what is behind those doors, but because the hiding has ended. The secret has been given to the light. The performance of okayness has been laid down. And what was behind those doors all along, the community and the companionship and the love and the help, it was always there. It never stopped being available. The addiction just convinced you that you could not afford to walk through. Now you can. And this is the new normal that verse 3 is describing. Not just the ordinary Tuesday morning with the paper cup and the sun through the blinds, but the ordinary Tuesday morning that includes people. That includes the door being open and the invitation being real and the companionship being available, not just in crisis, but in the daily, ordinary walk of a life being lived. We were made for this, for God and for each other, and addiction stole it, and grace restored it. And the doors stay open because the need for what is behind them does not end when the crisis ends. It simply changes character. From desperate survival to daily living, from white-knuckle crisis community to the ordinary warmth of people walking together in the same direction. And then, with the specific honesty that has defined this entire song from the very first verse, the second line arrives. When I falter, not if, when. This is not a failure of faith. This is not a lack of confidence in grace or in recovery or in the fight that has been fought. This is the most honest and theologically precise thing a person in recovery can say about their future. I will falter. The flesh is weak. The doors of the old ways do not disappear. The pull does not fully vanish. And the closer we get to God, and this is the thing nobody tells you, the more painful the faltering becomes rather than less. This is the nature of holiness. The more God's presence fills us, the more we become aware of everything in us that is not like Him. The more sensitive we become to our own sin, the more we hate the faltering, not with the self-destructive shame of the early episodes, but with the holy grief of someone who loves God and hates the thing that grieves Him. Woe to us if we grow numb to it. The growing awareness of our sin is not a sign that we are failing. It is a sign that we are becoming more like the one who cannot tolerate sin at all. But here is what the fight against addiction has taught, what it has trained into the person who has been through everything this song describes. When the faltering comes, they know what to do. They have learned it in the fluorescent dawn and the shaking hands and the white knuckle name repeating and the secret given to light. They have learned not to fall on their own strength because they know their own strength is insufficient and have stopped pretending otherwise. They have learned to let Christ's strength be what gets them up. They have learned that the faltering is not the end of the story because they have seen grace meet them in the middle of the worst of it and not flinch. So when they falter, and they will, they start again, not with despair, not with the crushing weight of another failure added to the catalog, but with the learned confidence of someone who knows that grace is already there, waiting in the starting again. That Christ is already kneeling on the floor beside them before they have finished falling. That the mercy is new before they have earned it back. And here is the most liberating truth of this entire episode. Every step is forward. The world tells us that recovery is a matter of more steps forward than backward. That progress is the net positive of the good days outweighing the bad. But that is not how God defines it. Romans 8:28 declares that God works all things together for good for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. All things, not just the victories, not just the clean days and the strong moments and the times the door stayed closed. All things, the faltering too, the starting again too, the growing awareness of sin too, the holy grief of someone becoming more like Christ and hating the distance between where they are and where He is. That too, because we fall not into despair, but into grace. Every faltering is caught by the same hands that have been holding since the stronger hands took hold in verse 2. Every starting again is the mercy that is new every morning applied to this specific morning. Every step, whether it feels like forward momentum or like falling, is a step in the hands of a God who redeems everything and wastes nothing, and is moving the person He claimed toward the eternity He prepared for them. There is no step backward in the economy of grace. The path is set, the direction is His, and every step, every ordinary Tuesday, every faltering, every starting again, every door walked past, and every door walked through is forward, always forward, because the one who bought the morning is the one who holds the destination, and He does not lose what He has paid for. So when you falter, and you will, start again, not because you have the strength, because He does. Not because you deserve another start, because He decided you did. Not because the door behind you has closed, because the door ahead of you is open, and He is standing in it. Start again. Reflection. For those in recovery, what does it change for you to know that every step is forward? That the faltering is not a step backward, but a step caught by grace and redeemed into something? What would it mean to stop measuring your progress by the world's metric and start measuring it by His? For those beside someone in recovery, how do you communicate "start again" to someone who has faltered without minimizing the faltering or adding to the shame? What does it look like to hold both the grief of the failure and the certainty of the grace simultaneously?